Hello, welcome to episode 11. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Desiree.
There was a hurricane warning in California, I think like the first ever. And you're in California right now? Are you in California still? Did you move yet?
Yes, still here. I did see that it was the first in 84 years,
84. 84.
and 84
Yes,
is
that's Michelle's favorite number.
that is my number. I see that number everywhere, and it just so happens to be the year I was born, but that number is everywhere for me. And when I saw that, I like circled it and sent it to my husband and on a text, and he was just laughing because yeah, of course it's 84 years ago that would happen. But yeah, so there was a hurricane not in California. It was in Mexico, Baja, California, I believe. I don't watch the news, so I didn't know about it. And it was Friday. My husband came home from work and he said, "Have you heard about the hurricane?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." Almost everything. Have you heard? I'm like, "No, I haven't," but I like that. and, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a hurricane in Mexico and it's supposed to come up here." And I live, I want to say almost an hour and a half, almost 2 hours from Mexico. So it's pretty close if it's a huge storm to be hit. So um, he put the news on, and I did not. I just saw it was so clear to me since I don't watch the news. It was so clear to me how they try to scare you.
Anakin,
It wasn't just
yeah.
yes, it wasn't just news. It was there's gonna be deaths and everyone's scrambling to fill sandbags and and as he's saying these things you could see like the camera and you can't see the camera, you see the video of people. No one's scrambling, everyone's just getting prepared, but all his narrative was like panic, panic, panic. And after watching it for like 10 minutes I was like, can he's annoying, can you change it? um because there was no like hope in the message. It was all bad, doom, gloom, panic. um so I did though, I mean, I think maybe they think, they meaning media, think if you do that it'll get people to react instead of, and react being
Take action.
prepare,
Yeah.
take action. Yeah. Because you never know. It could have been bad. It wasn't bad, but it could have been bad. And if it was, and no one's like reacting because they didn't make it sound so bad, uh, no one would have been prepared, I guess. So I went to the store over the weekend to get some things to, I don't know, batteries for flashlights or um, uh,
Toilet paper?
jugs of water. I did get toilet paper, but I didn't because we were on the last roll. It wasn't a hoarding thing, but it was a big deal to me because for the past 5 years, I've been using a grocery shopping app that you get your groceries delivered to you because I hate shopping for one, and it was a great I love the app because you paid a yearly like subscription and then it was free delivery as long as your groceries were at least like $30 or something. And of course groceries are more than $30, so I took advantage of it. but now they changed their terms, and now you pay the subscription, but you also have to pay for delivery and service too on top of that. And I'm I money is everything's gone up. I can't afford that to spend my money on that. So um I started grocery shopping for the first time in 5 years 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it is, I don't know where anything is. I go I it's pretty time consuming and annoying for me now. I just remind myself when I'm there, like, I'm so lucky that I can shop and I'm not having to uh, live in a forest and try to find food. You know,
I'm not cutting
I
down
just,
coconuts. I'm not hunting.
yes,
No.
yes.
Um,
It's all here at my fingertips. I just need to find it. See, see how changing the mind frame, because before I would just be there miserable the whole time and getting upset. But no, I start thinking that way, and then I like, look at how wonderful this is. Everything's here. Just find it." I have to remind myself though. You were gonna say something?
a couple of things about that. So, to our listeners, Michelle and I were talking a few days ago, and she was talking with someone who works at Starbucks, and I said, "Oh, do they work at the Starbucks by your house?" And she's like, "No, I work at the Starbucks by Sprouts." I'm like, Where's there Sprouts? There's not a Sprouts around here. You don't
Yeah,
shop. You don't know where the grocery stores are. Now,
yeah,
now you're gonna know.
yeah. I'm
Um,
like, there's just sprouts around here. I didn't even know that.
two things about what you just said. First of all, I do that with laundry. I hate laundry. And I'm like, okay, it's a blessing. We have so many freaking clothes. Like every time I usually do a laundry party, I just wash them all in a day, and then I have like 5 or 6 loads of folds and get and put away. And that's I have to. Okay, laundry party time. Thank goodness I have so many clothes. I reframe it that way. And the second thing,
and and you are have a machine to wash it. You're not washing it all yourself.
I don't have to go that far. Usually, the
Okay. Okay. Good. Good.
enough
Good.
clothes, the clothes blessing is like,
Good.
okay, I'm happy with
Okay.
clothes. I'm that. I mean, I don't. Maybe if actually washing the clothes bothered me, I would have to go down the route. But it's so easy, put in the laundry and the soap, and I don't have to refrain that. It's the when all the clothes are heaping on my bed,
Okay.
and then
Yes.
like, and then I don't get to it, and then I put them on the chair the next
Yeah.
day, and then I put them on my bed so we can get the. I mean, like it's a thing for me.
Yes.
My husband took over laundry a couple years ago because he's like, "Let me help you out with this." Okay, thank you. Um, but the grocery shopping thing, the actually bit, I didn't really mind grocery shopping. I didn't mind it ever until all of my eye stuff. When I had my retinal detachment and
Mm.
I became half blind, like my vision is significantly impaired where it looks like underwater out of my eye. And so when it first happened, I went to the grocery store and I started crying. It was so overwhelming to me, just the aisles of everything. And
Wow.
I was like, it was so overwhelming. And then, so that happened. And then we moved, but I knew where everything was at the grocery store. So I could just make do. But when we moved to Ohio, like 2 years later, that was the only thing I broke down about. Like everything else, whatever, we can acclimate and adjust. But it was a grocery shopping. I'm like, I don't know the grocery stores. I don't know the labels. Like, I really nutrition is big for us, and I need to make sure. I don't know the brands here. They have different grocery stores in the stores I shopped at, and my friend, she was like, well, why don't you just do online grocery shopping? And I was like I'm able bodied, like I could do that. Like I felt like it was like well, I guess maybe I'm not able vision. I don't know. But it felt weird to do it. It felt lazy, but oh my gosh, it was beautiful because you can read the labels, the nutritional facts on the website, and then just
Yeah.
in your order, and then I'd go pick it up. We did it for pickup. The stores offer that actually. So it wasn't through an app, it was through the actual grocery store. You could just order online, and loved it because I didn't have to walk around and find everything. Like, it was so overwhelming just not knowing the brands and not knowing where everything was at. And so I feel bad for you. This is like a big deal.
Well, thank you for telling me that tip of the stores do it and you
Yes.
just pick it up because I'm gonna do that now. I
Yes.
was doing the app that had um I
The
don't know, it was a third party from the store or something, and they go and they deliver it and it was free, but it's not free anymore. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Thank you so much
yes.
because I I don't know, a couple of weeks ago my husband's like, "Can you pick this and that up?" And before I would just be like, "Well, I'm gonna do a grocery list thing, yeah, so tell me." And but he needed he actually needed it for that day. So I go to the store. He needed two things. I was there for 45 minutes looking for these two things. It was white vinegar and Parmesan cheese. And I couldn't, I went like in the foreign foods thinking vinegar. I don't know. I I haven't shopped in 5 years. So yeah, it took 45 minutes, and that was when I told myself, look at how abundant we live. Look at all the stuff and like all the shelves full of things. Um, so and it made that 45 minutes uh okay, but at first I was
Terrible.
like, I can't. What am where's the vinegar? By the way, the vinegar was by the pickles, which was by the ketchup, which was by the dressing, in case
It's
anyone needs vinegar. um,
like, I know Walmart
yeah.
for sure. You can order online. You can just do your order and then just do pickup through the store and some other grocery stores around here. So we have a Giant Eagle here. You don't have a Giant Eagle there, but the stores might offer that where you can just order through the store, not an
Yeah,
app. Let us
I'll
know
look
next
into
time
that.
if they have that.
Okay, I'll look into that. Thank you.
Saving you time. That is good.
Yes.
So
So the this weekend I went. I knew from seeing the news on Friday night, everyone was going to be at the stores like when COVID happened. So I didn't go to a grocery store. I went to a drugstore like Rite Aid or Walgreens or CVS or whatever. I only know those three as like the most common ones. I don't know what. Do you have those over there in Ohio?
not Rite Aid,
Not
but
Rite Aid. Okay.
I don't think we.
Yeah. So I went to one of those to get the things, the batteries, the water, the essentials. And while I was there, my friend, I have a group friend. Uh, was it a group text? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Something like that.
group chat.
Yeah, she group chat. Yeah, and she while I was there, she texted, "Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm at a major store and it is crazy here and the shelves are going empty." And it's like, yep, I didn't go there. I might pay a dollar or 50 cents more on something, but I avoided the crowd. I was in and out. And it's a smaller store because it's a drugstore, so you have less aisles to go in and out to try to find things. um, so I was in and out within a half hour, 45 minutes of getting the just in case stuff. But thank God we didn't need any of it. We did have a couple of trees in our backyard break and fall. Uh, Hence why I'm not where I usually am. I'm on the side of the house because we need to clean the back. But besides that, it was a one night of a lot of rain and a lot of wind, and but
It's
everyone's
past.
okay. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
clear skies, as you could kind of see. Um, it was 80 degrees today. Nice day. We're okay. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I've been
Hopefully, it
watching.
won't happen for another 84 years.
We were camping over the weekend, and so I didn't have any Wi-Fi, and I was like, "What is going on?" So when we just got back today, and I was looking at it didn't luckily it didn't seem like too much devastation, but some places did get up, like Palm Springs did get tons of rain, and
Rain.
yeah, and there was landslide in San Diego where it shut down a freeway, or I mean there was definitely damage, but not luckily not as bad as they thought. And then there was a earthquake over the weekend. Like, what is happening to California? Oh, did you hear about that?
I
Say
did. I
oh,
actually got
well,
an
say
alert on
no.
my phone. My phone alerted me that there was an earthquake, and we didn't feel it.
Yeah.
But it was in the like northern LA
Hmm.
area, which one of the podcasters I listen to religiously, I listen to him all the time. He lives there. So I'm looking forward to hearing if his next, yeah, of how that, if he's okay, if they're okay. Yeah. Crazy times.
Crazy time.
Crazy.
And then the crazy wildfires in Hawaii. It is
Yeah.
it's so much going on. Oh, always so much, but and that is another perspective, is that we have like how we're all connected now in social media and the news and everything. Like we just see so much more that perhaps a lot of other people, in other times, it wouldn't have we wouldn't really have known all these things, the prevalence and of the interconnection through media.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think we think, oh, it's crazy times, but because we're aware before we didn't know, so it's probably like this. It's been
Ebbs and
maybe,
flows, different things, different times. Yeah. I mean, 84 years ago, that's a
yeah,
long time for that
yeah,
to happen. But I mean, if it happens
right,
next year, then what's going on, climate
right,
change and all of that. Yeah, I don't know. I think before, journalism, like newscasters would just report on the news. I think there's so much commentary now where they share their personal opinions rather than just the facts, or this is just, yeah, fear inducing, fear mongering, I think is big time
yeah,
in reporting the news, which it shouldn't be like that. It should just be this: here's the information, you discern, you decide how you're gonna take it.
yeah,
I think that.
yeah. It was very, especially because I haven't watched the news in so long. It was very obvious watching it the other day of that. Like he's like panic and all these things he was saying, and in the video of people doing it, there was no panic. Everyone's just preparing. Yeah, and he's like, so yeah, so yeah, I do see that what you're saying. The journalism has evolved into uh,
Commentary,
commentary. Yeah,
opinions. Yeah, it's I don't watch the news either. Actually, what I watch, I actually watch a lot often. Um but not mainstream news. I like to watch different views of the news, so that I can I know what I believe, but I definitely like to hear the other side of things or other perspectives so I can, you know, go from there, I guess. Who
Do you
knows?
go looking for that? You go searching for that? Like, or do you know where to look that has a different opinion than yours? Like, how do you go about that? Because of the algorithms and things.
Right. So there's a few news stations on YouTube that I watch.
Okay.
First of all, I love Russell Brand. I watch his videos, every single one since like 2020, maybe 20. Yeah, I think around COVID is whenever I kind of saw what he was talking about, and it was
Mm,
nothing what anyone else was talking about. Like,
mm.
I think that too, or that's an interesting perspective. And so I love that he says the different views. We obviously know what his views are, but he says the other side of things. So and then there's a few other that the two newscast well, they're not newscasters. What are they? I don't know. The two hosts have opposite views. So they usually share their views and kind of disagree like this or that. And I love hearing how they
Well,
view
that's great.
things. Yeah.
And
So
it's not an argument, it's just a discussion.
yes, yeah,
I love that.
it is definitely. And
Yeah.
some and they always, well, as you know, I'm gonna disagree with you or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
important for me to see all sides as I can.
I,
But
I like that about you.
oh, hey,
I like that about you, and I like that about us because we do disagree on a few, a handful of things, if not more. But it's a discussion. It's
yes,
never you have to believe what I believe, or you have to. It's just a discussion, and a lot of people are not like that.
agreed.
So I do.
Yeah,
I
I do love that about us. You're right. And we
Yeah,
talk about it, and I know your stance and you know my stance, but we love each other and respect each other's
yeah,
stance. And um yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to a little I that was a great catch up for recent. I wanted to um not let the last episode just disappear into the wind. I wanted a little bit of recap on that because it was a great one.
It
Meeting your
did.
husband.
Yeah.
I know your husband, but I mean for the viewers. And I watched it with my stepdaughter who doesn't know your husband, and she was like telling me great things about him, just like you could tell he loves her so much, and she was just
I
it
paid
was
after.
good.
That was a sweet episode. I really enjoyed it here. No, it was great because especially he it's a time commitment. So for him to come on, and it was great to just hear what he thinks about the podcast, and you had great questions for him, and yeah, it was fun to have him here. I think
Yeah.
back.
Uh, yes, definitely. Um, he did mention a confession of yours that I didn't know that you had was how you're very jumpy. You're scared of things. I didn't know that about you. I don't know if you could tell, but I was kind of shocked
Uh-huh.
on that. I don't know why I was shocked. But it I just didn't know that about you. That's why I guess. And we never. I mean, our talks have never. I we get deep, but we've never. I don't know why that's never been brought up, but it hasn't.
I know. That's true.
um.
Like I don't say, oh, look, JR scared me so much. Like I wouldn't say anything like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's true. How would that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm jumpy.
So it made me start because I want to understand. I'm not a therapist, so I was gonna be like Miss Michelle, the therapist, but I'm not. But I was like, what? Where did that come from? Because everything comes from something. Um, and I remember, I don't know if you remember this. I was like 6 or 7, so you were like 11 or 12, something like that. And me, our parents, and our other sister went somewhere, and you didn't want to go. You stayed home, but you were already 11 or 12, so you could. And I think it was one of the first times you stayed home alone. I don't know if this is.
You are
Do you
absolutely,
know where I'm going with this? I don't even
absolutely.
know if you know where I'm going with this.
And I think I was like, when you were saying my age, I would think I was 11. So that would be
Okay, so I
7.
was 6,
Yeah.
7. I was 7. Yeah,
And
I don't know.
I think you guys were going to buy the pop-up tent.
Okay,
Do you remember that?
okay. Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. You didn't want to go. Was it your first time being home alone?
One of the first few. Yeah.
Okay. So our mom was good on saying never answer the door, even when I was not left home alone, but never answer the door. Even with all of us at home and someone knocks on the door, no one answers the door. We don't answer the door. So that was a rule. Never answer the door. Um, and if you are home alone, or if mom or dad is in the shower and the phone rings, you don't answer the phone either. Like you leave it up to the grown-ups. That's the grown-ups to do all those things. You just be a kid and enjoy your kidness, your childhood. Um, so that was a rule in our house and to keep us safe. And don't talk to strangers and all those rules that you tell the kids. And I remember us coming home, it was like 7 or 8. Um, so it was nighttime, and they realized that they didn't bring the house keys. So one of them
I
forgot the
think
house
they were
key, and they
having a,
were fighting about it
yes, they were having a big fight.
because one of them forgot the house key.
I didn't know
And
it
it
happened
turned
on that
into a big
side.
fight.
Okay.
So I'll
Oh,
tell you my story, and you tell
okay.
me your side. So they realized when we like pulled in that neither of them had the house key, and then they started fighting, and they would fight. They knew they fought. They yelled. It was they were fighting, and because they were fighting, I got into my, oh no, I get really scared with fighting. I just like, I wanted to like disappear while they were yelling at each other, and then they um went they meaning my mom or my dad, I don't know which one, went to try to open the door and then knock on the door. And of course you wouldn't answer because of the rules of never answer the door, especially you're home alone. You're not going to answer the door. And then my dad, so I want to say my dad tried, and then my mom went and started knocking on your bedroom window, and then they were just knocking. They were just, because they were mad and upset. They were just,
Banging on all the windows.
yeah, because
Okay.
they were mad at each other.
Yes.
Like,
So,
so they were emotions, emotions, emotions.
yes.
And then my dad got a screwdriver to try to pick the lock or something. And then the police came, and he had a screwdriver in his hand. And this is my side. Okay, you tell us your side. And then I'm in the car and I'm seeing all this. And, and they're like, put your weapon. Like, they thought he was trying to break in the house. And then they take him they thought he had a weapon because he had a screwdriver, or he had something. I think it was a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And then they uh, treat him like a criminal at first until they had you identify him as your dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was
Yeah. Okay.
practicing this with my therapist a couple months ago because I,
Oh, really?
do-
I
I mean,
completely forgot about it. I
did
completely
you
forgot about
really?
it until completely. until
Yeah.
he said you were a scaredy cat, and then after we recorded and I started like,
Where did this come
she's
from?
a scaredy cat, why? And then, oh, I remembered.
Yeah, that was the, in those formative years, trauma in the formative years.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think 10 or 11 or something, 11 or 12 around
11
there.
or 12.
And I was talking on the phone with my friend, and they were going to go, I think they were buying the pop-up tent. And so I was like, I'm just going to stay home and talk on the phone. So I was in my room talking on the phone. And then all of a sudden I heard this, and we had a metal gate for a door. So I heard this banging on the metal gate, and my heart started beating. I'm like, oh my God, someone's trying to break in the house. I hung up with my friend. I called 911. I said, someone's trying to break in. They said hide. So I'm hiding under the bed, and I just hear this banging, open the door, like rageful screaming, open the door. And then I hear, and that was the front door. Our bedroom was in the back. Then I start hearing banging, and we had bars on our house in Lemon Grove. I start hearing banging around, like coming closer to me. And yeah, so finally I heard like, Desiree, open the door. I heard them say my name, and I was like, oh my God, it's my mom. It's my mom. And so I told 911 that it's my mom. And I was so petrified. I was so scared, hiding under the bed, thinking I'm going to die. And
yeah. Oh my
so
gosh.
I told them that it was my mom, but the police were coming. And that's right. I remember that too, that daddy had a screwdriver because he was trying to, um,
Open the door.
or maybe she broke it trying to, was he trying to open the door with a screwdriver?
I
I
think he's
think,
trying to pick the lock. Yeah.
oh, okay, I didn't know that. I don't know what I don't know. I was inside, but the police came, and he had to put his hands up, and then I said, "No, it's my dad. It's okay. It's okay." And then that was that. So I even every time I hear someone knock on the door, or I hear like a bang, like my heart starts pounding. Like I feel that. I feel scared. Um and I would say that's exacerbated from my vision problems, because I don't see peripheral very well. So things can come around, and I see shadows differently. So even my own shadow scares me. So it's magnetized now. It's so funny. At work, when I worked in the office, I had this sign that said, so usually, like if I was working on the computer or doing notes, I have my earphones in listening to music. And I have a sign. I made a sign that says, tuned out, tap on my shoulder for my attention, or something like that. And so people would tap on my shoulder, and every time I would jump, and every time they would apologize, I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'm just jumpy. Like I had a sign asking them, but if they tapped on, it would be better than, I don't know, something else scaring me. But they always feel bad because I always jump, but my own shadow scares me. It's okay. Yeah. That is so funny that you were thinking of that incident, of how that would have affected me as a little girl, and that is it. Like that was,
Yeah.
I'm scared. I feel scared. Even JR loves The Walking Dead, that TV show. And have you seen it? It's with zombies and stuff.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, don't watch it. It's horrible. But so I'm like, okay, years ago, I'll watch it with you. And then like I always sit with my feet like tucked under him, and I'm like, try to be like protected by him. And when I go up to the room, I have to turn on all the lights because it's scary walking in the dark. Or yeah, I'm a scaredy cat. And maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember being scared before that happened?
No. Like that is the only time.
Yeah. You know what would help?
EMD.
EMDR. Yeah.
I mean, I know that. How would
Yes,
it help me?
definitely.
Help heal from that trauma? Like I thought EMDR helps you
Hmm.
realize what the root cause is.
No, it'll help you from not being so jumpy
Hmm. How?
because your body has held on to it to where it's traumatized to where things your body recognizes it and scare and is very jumpy. So with EMDR, most of the time I didn't know why for those reasons or whatever. And then it would help me get to that and then I could work on it. Now
Right.
you know, but working through that, how do you work through that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was a long time
You
ago.
would
It's done. I mean,
yeah, you would focus on like reliving it to where you could
I just
process it to
did.
go through. No,
Like, I just told you everything.
you have to you told it, but did you actually put yourself there and feel it and go through all of it all over again like it's happening to you right now?
Maybe.
Not really. Maybe. Well, you would be crying right now if
I
you would
don't
be feeling
petrified.
okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you would be feeling all those things. So the EMDR makes you go through it, feeling those things like it's happening in real time, like you're that little girl again. Um, but to where you're not, but your brain's processing it with that side by side bilateral. I like eye movement that does it, but some people like tapping, some people like for me what works is eye movement. Um but your brain is processing it at the time it happened, your brain stored it and now your body's been holding on to it this whole time. With the EMDR, you're thinking of all that again happening, but your brain's processing it to where it's not holding on to it, to where you're not jumpy anymore.
I guess it's true. I told the story and I was picturing everything, but I mean that was what, like a 2-minute story rather than, where were you at? What did the room look like? Like literally taking me in. What did you hear?
Hmm.
What did you
Hmm.
feel like?
You feel those feelings again, yeah,
Right.
and having your brain process it, because at the time you're not processing, you're
Surviving.
retaining it. The information is getting in there, but you have no time to process that. So it's processing it later, your brain, but you got to
Or
relive
not.
it or not and just be jumpy.
I
Yeah.
mean, or I mean, I haven't processed it before. That's why I'm so jumpy. Is
Yeah.
thing your point.
Yes.
And
Yes.
gosh, if you think about how many of us that was it wasn't really even traumatic. It was our parents, and nothing bad happened. Like people have really been through horrific things in their life, and you know they survived and they've moved forward, but haven't truly processed that trauma, like
Right.
you're saying, like the
Right.
importance of truly processing it, reliving it, having a professional walk them through it to be able to
Right.
fix it. Like how many people
Yes.
just, I mean, in my therapy journey.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. I feel it. Like my heart goes out to them. Yes.
Yes, the
Yes.
pain that they're holding.
And how they could be healed. Yes.
You guys, if you have experienced,
Yes.
and and even and I minimized it, like it was my parents, I was at home, I was safe, nothing really traumatic happened to me, like it all ended okay. That's not the case for a lot of people. They've been subjected to significant trauma as a child that they had no control over, that they've had to store, stuff it down to move forward, but that's
Right.
affecting so many different aspects of their life. If you have
And
experienced,
their body. Yeah.
get help. Like there's hope. There's
There's
a
hope.
lot of different type of therapies. EMDR, I know,
Yeah.
cognitive behavioral therapies. There's so many different types of therapies that can help
Yeah.
you heal from it.
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. Process it. Yeah. Because when it's happening, you're um retaining it all. You're taking it all on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me
Very
think
true.
that, remember that movie Sybil, where she had multiple personalities? She developed multiple personalities from trauma, like the personalities formed to protect her from. Do you remember this movie?
With Sally Fields.
Sally Field, that's her name. Yes.
Yeah. I've seen it once when I was little. I don't I'd have to watch it again.
That's a good
Is
one.
that what it was?
Yeah,
Protector for each traumatic event, so it
yeah,
turned into
yeah, something
these personalities were protecting her.
yes. She like retired
Wow.
in these, yeah. Ah, life. What a
Yeah.
journey. Thank you for that. You are going to look into pickup service at your grocery store. I am going to look into I don't my counselor does not do EMDR, but I do. You have talked about it so much and I do see the benefit of it. And actually I'm part of a women's group, and we were she the facilitator of the group had just mentioned EMDR, and I was like, I know my sister, she has been through it. And you know what? Can we get your counselor on our podcast? Can
I'll
she
ask her.
can
That would
she
be
do
amazing.
EMDR
She
on
could
me? Not live. She's retired.
that would be amazing because I try to talk about it, but all I know is what how I've done it and how it's helped me. But she's the like expert. She has a license in it. And that's all she did when she. I think she's retired now. That's all she did. Um, I would love. I'll ask her. I would love her to come on, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions because I keep talking about it. And yeah, please send in your questions so I can prep her if she agrees to discuss the process and how it helps so much and
Awesome.
everything else. Yeah.
Good. Maybe future guest. That would be phenomenal to learn more about it. And this journey
Yeah.
is all about just life and healing, and our journey and what we've experienced. And hopefully it's bringing hope and encouragement to the listeners out there. So hopefully
Yes.
you're there.
I love that you mentioned that um it was brought up in your group because when I started it seems like it's getting more common because when I started it 10 years no 12 years ago now. It's I don't know, 11 10 between 10 and 12 years ago. It I never heard of it, and now I'm hearing it a lot now. Like on the podcast I listen to, some of the hosts say that they've done some of that, and I'm like, oh, good. Like it's getting out there more because it's so helpful. It's so helpful, and it just makes me happy that people are doing it and helping themselves and
Yeah.
working on it because it's so helpful.
Our brains are amazing, huh? Like how
Yes.
that kind of you know what? When I was a social worker, I was working in mental health in California, and my supervisor, he had me do tapping. He was like, okay, he's like, tap. He told me like different things, tap like 5 times here, tap 5 times here. I had a super difficult case I was working on, and like an explosive session, and I came back and I was processing them, and he was like, and I didn't realize he didn't say we are gonna practice some EMDR. I don't know what he called it, but this was a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Well, what you're saying, this tapping thing that you're saying on specific like pressure points in your
Yes,
body
it's
is
not
not
EM.
EMDR.
What is that?
No, it's called something else. Uh, the tapping, but it does the same. It doesn't do the same. It's very similar, but the pressure points that hold the stress.
Yes.
So you're upset and you're tapping these things, the pressure points, to help you calm down, but it's not you processing it. EMDR is for processing. The tapping is for calming you down.
Okay.
And I don't know the tapping is a thing though, but
Yeah.
it's on the pressure points. I've done that with my therapist too, but it wasn't our EMDR session where I'm processing. It's just for calming you down
Mhm.
on your in your yeah.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what you were
Yeah.
talking about on those areas.
Well,
It
good.
helps, doesn't it?
Well, it was the first time I'm like, what is he having me do? Like, this is really weird. I wasn't like I did it, but I wasn't like in a space to be like, okay, let me. I was sitting in the office with my supervisor and he's telling me to tap, and I just
Okay,
it was
okay.
I wasn't probably in the right frame of mind. Like I wasn't prefaced with there is this that sounded.
Right.
I didn't know what it was. So so I don't know. No,
E E EFT tapping, I think.
I don't know.
I think.
I feel like he called it the tapping method, but
Okay.
I don't but maybe I'm making that up. I don't know.
But so EMDR is it's bilateral movement. Mine worked for my eyes. Um, when I was pregnant, it was too much for me, so I did tapping, but it wasn't tapping on pressure points. It was just the bilateral movement. She would tap as I was thinking of whatever I needed to process. She would tap on my knees just because
She would?
um that's not a pressure point. She would tap on my she would sit, we would face each other and she would tap uh back and forth on my knees. Is I don't I'm saying this without knowing for sure. I was gonna say
I just Googled.
I what does it say?
You're right. EFT
The
tap
tapping, what does it say?
is an alternative
AFT? Yeah.
acupressure therapy treatment used to restore balance to your disrupted energy. There you go.
Yes. So it's calming you down. It's not for processing. EMDR is for the your brain to process.
Great. Well, that
But
is
it works. It does help if when you're feeling overwhelmed. I do breathing, but the tapping works too. I've tried it. She walked me through it a couple times. All these tips. It's wonderful.
no, this is great. I'm going to start
Yeah.
incorporating this too. EFT. Now, this is something, look into it, guys. EFT.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what it stands for. Oh, emotional freedom technique. That sounds like a great
Tapping.
I would
Yeah.
want to do. It's not in schools. What?
Yeah.
Emotion technique. Okay, very cool. Good. We got on a
We
tangent.
gotta teach these to our kids.
Yes. I need to practice it myself.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, how do we segue from that? I don't know.
I know. um I don't know, but I remember we were talking before you went on your camping trip just to catch up, and you were worried about the hurricane coming. Um, by the way, great tan. You look
Oh my
like you're
gosh.
from California.
We went boating. Oh, it was such a great trip. So my kids start school on Friday. Um, it doesn't matter when you watch this, that doesn't mean anything, but we went camping over the weekend before they start school, and our the best boat to have is the cousin's boat you can borrow. So we have a cousin who let us borrow his boat and we were on there all weekend and it was beautiful. I did not use sunscreen as much as I should, so I got a little. And my halter bathing suit I'm seeing is my strap is too big. I need a new bathing suit with like a thin line, so I have different tan lines, but I didn't use enough sunscreen, but that's okay. It will turn to a nice tan. Yep,
Yeah,
it was good. Good.
as long as it's not itchy. Is it?
It's not itchy, it's burny. Like I feel hot.
Oh,
I feel
it feels hot.
I've been lubing up with lotion though, so hopefully it doesn't peel and turns to a good tan.
Yeah. Well, you got your California
Glow.
skin back. Yeah, you do. Um, but before you left, we were talking because you wanted to. Actually, no, I told you about the hurricane,
You
and
told
you're
me,
like,
that's
"What?"
right.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, funny
but
thing
then,
about that.
huh.
That you told me about the hurricane. I was like, okay, that's weird because I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a friend who lives in La Mesa share that she was preparing for the hurricane. And I was like, did she move? I missed her whole move. Like, what does that mean she's preparing for the hurricane? She lives in La Mesa. So I just thought she moved and I missed it on social media. And then you told me, I'm like, oh, it's a thing. Oh my gosh. What does that mean? A hurricane?
Does Ohio get hurricanes?
I think tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
Tornado watches. We've had a few. I don't know about hurricanes. No, a hurricane is like a water thing. I'm Googling it actually.
Oh, what Ohio gets?
Does Ohio gets? Oh,
Hur-
Ohio doesn't register as an obvious high risk state for natural disasters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Um, so I was talking about a podcast that I listen to. Like I said previously, there's like a handful that I listen to nonstop. And um, I mentioned, how do I say this gently? I really like listening to it because they get really deep. But the host, almost every word is like a really big word, and I'm just when I listen to it, I want to just
Oh, you're frozen.
I'm I'm like rack brain on the words that he says. Huh?
You were
What'd you say?
frozen. You said when you listen to it, you just wanna.
Oh, I just want to like because a lot of the podcasts I listen to they get deep, but they also I just love the topic, and but I don't this guy he just I want to say every other word is some big strange word, and I'm like, why can't you? I give you an example. This is not a good example, but it was just like if he's gonna talk about something red, he's like maroon, and he just uses it's red. Okay, I mean that. Like I said, it's not a really great example, but something like he uses the elaborate word of everything instead of just talk. And me telling you this, you really opened my eyes because I please go on. And we'll talk about it more because you really opened my eyes, and I was getting annoyed, but then I told you maybe I'm getting annoyed because I struggle with speaking.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
but
So I love that you're bringing this up. Yeah, so that yes, you shared that. Well, I listen to this podcast and he uses all these big words, and I said, well, sometimes there's only big words that like for me I love language, like I'm a writer, I've learned Spanish, I love language and so I love learning new words. And so for me sometimes there's only certain words that can like accurately describe what I'm thinking. And I do vary my language when I talk with different people. Like when I talk with my kids, I not necessarily wouldn't use all the big words I do. Or when I talk with my clients, I definitely don't use super big words. I don't want to make them feel, like, oh, like, right, like, oh, she's so fancy, she knows these words. Like, but then there's some people that are on, just a different level that I can use, you know, talk how I normally would want to talk. Okay, so I was at our Celebrate Recovery meeting. I'll give you an example. I was at our Celebrate Recovery meeting on Thursday, actually, just the other day. And I was telling the guys were helping me clean up, and I was telling them that I had this big breakthrough in therapy. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, tell us what it is." I said, "I'm not really ready to share that yet. I'm still ruminating on it." And he said, "Ruminating isn't a word." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And he was like, "That's not a word. You made it up." I'm like, "That is a word." He's like, "Well, what does it mean?" And I know what it is. And that was the word that, like, I'm ruminating on it, but I'm like, I don't know, like, to think about something or ponder. And I Googled it and showed him. I'm like, "See, ruminate is a word and it means to think about something deeply." And he's like, "Oh, you made it up." But I probably should have just said I'm pondering or processing, but ruminate's what came out. So I shared that experience with you, that, and
Yeah.
you also said that makes sense because that particular podcaster is a poet. So
Yes.
he probably, and I love poetry too. And
Yes.
so that was our discussion.
Yes. And I just wanted to bring it up because I've mentioned before about my um struggle, or something I don't like about myself is the I have so much in me and I don't have the words to express, even just talking and explaining something. Maybe that's my problem, is I don't know those big words that accurately describe exactly what I want to get out. So I always feel like I'm translating because I have to dumb it down. It's not really even dumbing it down. It's just not accurately expressing what's inside me. And I guess I need to read poetry more or something to get. How do you guys know all these words? Like so I hear, I listen, I love his topics that he talks about and things, and I listen to it, but half the time I'm like, just say whatever. Why are you using all these big words? But it bothers me because I don't know it and I want to.
Mm,
It's like what do they say? I'm mirroring.
mm.
I'm I
Reflect.
don't like it because it's something I struggle with.
Yeah.
He's getting on my nerves because it's something I can't do. And I
Mm.
never thought of it that way. It really annoyed me and he bothered me. I still listen to it because I like the topics, but when you told me that, it was a big eye opener for me.
Michelle,
And yeah.
that's what I love about you, is that you're just open and want
uh,
to learn more about yourself and other people. And so many times we have a conversation, you're like, "Oh, I never really thought about it like that." Or you have shared things with me. Yeah, I love that about a relationship. It's not defensive. It's not like,
yeah.
no, he's just trying to show off with his big length. You didn't stick to that, like, this is how it is, but like, oh, I never thought about,
Mhm.
maybe that's what it is. And I love about.
Yeah, maybe that's why. I Yeah, but I never if I didn't talk to you, I would have just been like, this guy's annoying. Like, just talk normal. But it's annoying to me. You might love it. I will probably share an episode with you and be like, this is right in line with how I talk. Or, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and when I hear people say words I don't know, I stop. I'm like, "What does that mean?" I love that word. Like this one, I remember a little while ago, one of my friends, we were talking, and she said poignant. And I said, "I've never heard of that word. What does that mean?" And she told me, I'm like, "I need to use that in a sentence this week." So I like kept reminding myself, poignant, poignant, I don't know. So I consciously pay attention, and I just love language. So I don't know. That's, yeah.
As long as you use it in the right way. So I was, a long time ago, I was in a business meeting with someone, a group of us, and then the customer, and we're discussing things, and it's a technical meeting, and there was a guy in there, and we mentioned physics because we're talking about engineering and other things that involve with the project we were working on. And um I don't know, ever since that meeting he would bring up the word physics and things that didn't wasn't physics. Like he said that word all the time after that meeting. And we were like, that's not that's
Correct.
not
Yeah.
physics. Like what? Yeah. So
Guys, due to physics, it's break time.
yeah, yeah. So just make sure you use it in the
Correct.
right way
Yes.
and don't overuse it.
Right.
Um it was cute. Now that I look back, it was a new word for him, I guess. I don't know. So he was like, "Oh,
Physics,
I
like
need
that was a literal word.
I don't know." As I say that, I'm like, "That's really sad," but maybe because he used it so much. um.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So yeah, I need to do that. I need to learn more words and use it in the right way, and maybe it'll help me with my speech of getting the words out that I want.
Mm-hmm.
That's in here that I don't have words for.
Maybe that
Physics.
the unlocking of it. Yeah, that was an
Yes.
interesting conversation that we had. We have so many conversations that we don't record, from like just chit chatting. That so I'm glad you brought that up. That was a fun conversation, just about how we think and how we speak and how it's different, and my processing and how you never thought about it that way. And yeah,
Yes.
I'm super conscious about how I speak to people. Words matter, like words matter. And like I said, so I have this new job, and they wrote down a script, and they use these big words to our clients and the population. I feel like that's not appropriate that we would be saying, I don't know. I just, you know, like this isn't the word, but it was like nonetheless. Like who says that? like I just really
Right.
get down and simplify things. And but
Right.
when I
And not even that. I mean, yes, but not even that. But that doesn't sound personable. Like um, there. What I think I hear you saying is they give you guys like a script
this
or
was just
something,
first time, and
like outline.
yeah, as I was reading it to the customers to describe the program, I did not say those words. Like, I don't know, one of the phrases was in which. I'm like, who? I don't know. Like, I just said something else. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very conscious about what I say to who, and,
Yeah.
that's important. But when I'm talking with other people, just different people are at different levels. And I think I have good um, barometer, or a good like gauge to see, how to speak with people. Words matter.
I did that recently, actually. I I I think um I had at my job, I had a sales meeting to promote whatever it is that we do um to a potential new customer. I went through all the like slides, but I didn't read the slides. Because I understand, I know what we do. So I just talked through it in my language.
Yeah.
And then after I like spoke through it, I, in that meeting, I would like skim it to make sure I didn't leave anything out. And then as I was skimming it, I'm like it's not personable. Like I talked through it versus having to read it all. I'm like, this is not, it makes it not a conversation,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Is that
Abs-
what you're saying?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Well, and we'll have maybe a lot more opportunities on our language endeavors through this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good practice.
Good practice. Yes. So, anything else for today? Because
It's getting late.
it's almost 10 o'clock here. I mean, it doesn't matter. But anything else
Yeah.
for?
Um, no, no, I think we're good.
I think we're good. I mean, we could talk for hours, but we'll save that for another podcast. Tune in next
Yeah.
week. Um, Oh, as always, if you're interested and want to get a notification of our next podcast, then hit subscribe and comment on any questions you might have for Michelle's therapist in the future. We're asking her, bring the therapist. We're going to ask her to come and do some education. And that's what all this is awareness and helping people out in their journey as we fumble through life. As I fumble through life.
Me too.
Any last thoughts, Michelle?
Uh, well, we did bring up some trauma in this conversation. I just wanted to um, recap on that of just if anyone has gone through something traumatic and haven't truly processed it, and your body is holding on to it, and it has affected your life, just like you said, Desiree, it was traumatic for you, but it could have been a lot worse. It was,
Yeah.
for what you're saying, like it turned out okay, but some people it doesn't, and they're living with this.
Right.
And there's help out there. There's lots of treatments, different. Find what's right for you, what works for you. There's a lot of options out there, and luckily there is a lot of options out there. You can pick and choose to a point to see what's helpful. And we're not sponsored or anything, but all the podcasts I listen to, they always talk about BetterHelp and how it helps them so much, and how
Oh, I've seen
they make
those.
it
I've seen those ads too. Did you
they
say
make it
help?
easy for them to find a therapist because you don't know where to start.
Right.
And it's a great starting point that I haven't done it myself, but I've heard. So
Yes. I'm glad that you reiterated that because yeah, we're all just trying to deal with life and deal with what life's given us and deal with mistakes and bad choices and our future and our families and responsibilities and yeah. So if we're another thing, um at this women's group, she talked about this book called Your Body Keeps Count. Have you heard of that? I'm gonna get it.
no, but that's so true.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, and it was part of a just because I'm kind of experiencing. I had experienced some physical issues recently in the past year of just stress. That your body keeps count, and that's exactly what you said. Like whenever you
Yes,
experience trauma, it like imprints on you, and your body holds on to it until you can release it, and you need a professional to help you navigate that.
yes,
And so even if you don't think it's impacting your life, I'm sure if you thought about, different things that trigger you and you don't know why, it probably goes back to, the 10-year-old little girl hiding under the bed because my parents are banging on the door to open it. You just don't know how different things like that can affect you throughout your whole life.
that's right.
You process it.
That's right.
Good. All right, Michelle. Well, stay safe in crazy California. Have your propane for the next natural disaster. Flashlight.
Yeah,
And we will
yeah. I'm prepared now.
prepared. We'll connect next week and hope you guys are all doing well in this National Wellness Month. And we will talk next week. So have a good night. Bye, Michelle. I love
Bye. Good night.